Thank you, SARS, for accepting to join in this meeting.
A search for lasting peace in the country. President Buhari holds high-level meeting with former Nigerian leaders. Vice President Yemi Osibajo assures international community of government's resolve to transform the Nigerian police force to end impunity.
On these Nigerians, please retrieve your steps. Please stop inciting these youths. Stop turning them into tools. Stop for destruction. Stop using them to foment trouble. Stop using them to destroy our country.
Sheath your sword. Nigerian Inter-Religious Women of Faith Network appeal to the youths.
Sincere appreciations to the First Lady for giving this noble assistance.
Plus, Nigeria's First Lady put smiles on the faces of women at the grassroots in Yobe State under the Future Assured program. Good evening and welcome to the news at 9 on NTA. It's been a trying time for all of us as a people. Let's now embrace peace and work with the government. We at the NTA urge our youths to remain calm and shun violence. Thanks for joining us on the Network News tonight. Jennifer Igu will be joining us from Lagos and Muhammad Ibrahim is reading from Maiduguri. I am Jummai Yusuf. We begin with the presidency as in furtherance of his genuine efforts at finding lasting solutions to the SARS protests in the parts of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari held a virtual meeting with the nation's former leaders. The high-level engagement is coming barely 24 hours after his nationwide broadcast as well as the National Security Council meeting. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that all the 6 surviving former heads of state participated at the online meeting.
Thank you, SARS, for accepting to join in this meeting.
Bringing the former Nigerian leaders up to speed on the SARS protests, President Muhammadu Buhari said the youth protesters not only demanded that the police squad be disbanded, but further articulated 5 additional demands. Amongst them, the immediate release of all arrested protesters, justice for deceased victims of police brutality, and setting up an independent body to investigate reports of police misconduct and ensure prosecution of those found wanting.
We accepted all the demands and proceeded immediately to scrap SARS and started the process of addressing the other demands. Unfortunately, the protesters refused to call off the protest and engage the government to address their grievances. Instead, they gradually turned violent.
All the issues the President explained were thoroughly analyzed at Thursday's meeting of the National Security Council and described as unfortunate that the initial genuine and well-intended protests of the youth against SARS had been hijacked and misdirected.
Government will not fold its arms and allow miscreants and criminals to continue to perpetrate these acts of hooliganism. We will continue to improve good governance through our democratic process, including through sustained engagement. We shall also continue to ensure that liberty and freedom, as well as the fundamental rights of all citizens, are protected. Here, I want to also reaffirm our commitment to preserving the unity of this country.
During the meeting, each of the former Nigerian leaders made invaluable comments and observations on the situation, commending President Buhari for the steps taken so far towards restoring calm and order to the country. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo in particular applauded Thursday's presidential broadcast, saying President Buhari made points worthy of commendation, especially accepting the demands of the genuine protesters and working on implementation. The former heads of state unanimously condemned the divisive and inciting pronouncements of separatists and were of the opinion that such acts should be stopped, while expressing condolences to the bereaved families of civilians, policemen, and soldiers killed as a result of the violent protest, the former leaders called on youth to pursue peaceful means in seeking redress through constructive engagement with government. Actions taken by governors to address the demands of the NSAS protesters were also commended, so also their efforts at checking the excesses of those who perpetrated violent acts and conducts. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Governor Bello Muhammad Mutawalli of Zamfara State has made a passionate appeal for intervention by the federal government towards putting a stop to the resurgence of crime in the state, especially armed banditry and illegal mining activities. This was when the governor was granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari for discussions on the prevailing security situation in the state. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo tells us more.
This is the second time President Muhammadu Buhari will be granting audience to Governor Bello Muhammad Mutawalli of Zamfara State in the last 2 months. The governor's latest visit to the nation's seat of government is to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent killing of his people in parts of the state by armed bandits.
After the disbandment of SARS, we have some challenges, particularly the day before yesterday, about 20 people were killed under Talata Mafra local government. And what I was soliciting to Mr. President is to see how we can be able to have more security that will secure the territory of the state. So he directed the civil staff to contact relevant agencies to mobilize more security to the state with immediate effect.
The governor's engagement with President Muhammadu Buhari also centered on what he described as the worrisome activities of illegal miners in the state and called for intervention by the federal government towards restoring sanity in the greater interests of the country.
The central government needs to do something very urgent in order to harness these on-top mineral resources that the state has. As you are all aware, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Resources are working hard in order to make sure that they have come off with a genuine workable document that can benefit both the state and federal government, which Mr. President directed the National Security Advisor to form a committee, a task force on illegal mining, which can go around the state and fish out these illegal miners. As you are aware, most of these illegal miners are not Nigerians, but with the support of the army, police, and other security agencies in the state, some of these people were apprehended.
He commended the federal government for taking far-reaching measures towards effectively policing the nation's borders against the influx of foreigners illegally into the country.
I have confidence on that, and I believe for now we may not have some foreign national coming into the country, inshallah.
The governor promised to collaborate more effectively with the federal government towards achieving sustainable peace, security, and socio-economic development. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still staying with the presidency, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the plan of both the federal and state governments to investigate police brutality and prosecute erring police officers would be a game changer in ensuring an end to impunity. This was when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo received an American government delegation with discussions centered on NSAS protests and strengthening of relationships between the two countries. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The plan being referred to by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo include the creation of new state-based security and human rights committees, as well as providing compensation to victims of the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad and other police units. The Vice President told the delegation that at least 13 states in the country, including Lagos, have since established judicial panels to seek justice and to compensate those whose rights have been breached. On the concerns of the U.S. government on instances of impunity in the country, Vice President Osinbajo noted that these efforts are part of the Nigerian government's commitment to implement extensive police reforms, adding that the establishment of judicial panels of inquiry nationwide will further ensure that the police and other security agencies ensure the protection of human rights of citizens. The Vice President also highlighted what he termed false narratives about Nigeria, including the ETA farmer crisis, especially in north-central states, and the politics behind the allegations. As the Vice President explained, the ETA farmer crisis was exacerbated mainly because of land and resources struggle, then from the misinterpreted Christians versus Muslim narrative. Members of the United States delegation offered to collaborate with the federal government on these issues, a suggestion welcomed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and hoping that such cooperation will create better understanding of the issues. The American government delegation is made up of the U.S. Assistant Secretary, Bureau for Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, Bob Jestro, the U.S. Assistant Secretary, Bureau for Conflict Stabilization Operations, Dennis Natali, the Chancellor of the U.S. Department of State, Thomas Ulrich Richbold, and the Chargé d'Affaires U.S. Embassy, Kathleen Fitzgibbon. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari's speech on SARS protest has been described as soul healing, following the turn the earlier planned peaceful protest took in some parts of the country. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that chieftains of the All Progressives Congress say commitment should be sustained in permanently addressing issues inimical to national cohesion.
10 weeks, the nation has found itself in a difficult situation fueled by the SARS protesters, leading to damage of public and private infrastructure and assets. In a broadcast to the nation, President Muhammadu Buhari made an appeal to douse the tension which disturbed the peace in some parts of the country. Commending the president's commitment to contain the situation, former chairman, Progressive Governors Forum and senator in the 9th Assembly, Rochas Okorocha, says what the country desires is greater cooperation to overcome the trying times. Similarly, the Director General Progressive Governors Forum, Saliu Mohammed Lukman, lauded the well-developed and pragmatic solutions inherent in the speech of the president and appealed to SARS protesters to patiently wait for the implementation of their demands in the coming week.
We must give peace a chance, and we must allow this nation, this great nation that the entire Africa depends on, to thrive in peace. What started a few days ago as a peaceful protest has resulted into Nigeria again losing many souls and again burning properties and people living in fear. This situation was quite unfortunate.
But if government is going to, and I think that is the frustration of government, if government is going to engage, it's not going to engage in the street. At a point, there has to be representation on the part of young people that can meet government. So these are some of the details that I think force us into the current stalemate.
They say the level of destructions suffered as a result of the uprising is monumental and urged stakeholders, regardless of party and religious divides, to close ranks in quelling the protest. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The leaders of Southeast have condemned the attempt by some ethnic groups alleging that SARS protest is an ethnic affair. The Chairman, Southeast Governors Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, David Jummai, briefed journalists at the end of the virtual meeting in Abakaliki. Kingsley Okoro reports.
Making reference to a video threading in social media alleged to have emanated from Nnamdi Kanu, branding SARS protest to an Igbo agenda, Governor David Jummai says it's not true and is not saying the mind of Igbo leaders.
We as leaders of Southeast do condemn in strong terms the audio video in circulation in social media said to have emanated from Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, though he has since denied it. We condemn the attempts by some ethnic groups to brand SARS the affairs of the Igbos.
He said there was nothing wrong in the peaceful protesters' demand, which the government is already working hard to fulfill. Governor Omahirada called on leaders of other zones to work with the security agencies within the ambit of the law to secure lives and property of the people.
We want to appeal to all our people all over Nigeria and beyond to please disembark from SARS protest. So I appeal to our brothers from the north, our leaders from the north, our leaders from the west, our leaders from south, all our leaders all over the nation to please do everything to continue to maintain peace among all the ethnic groups.
When condemning killings of Lekki peaceful protesters, Governor Umahi called on the youth from the zone to pull out of SARS protest and dialogue for the good of the country. On the destruction of public facilities in the state by the hoodlums, the governor directed security agents and youths from the state to work in synergy to avert further destruction. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
And Nasarawa State stakeholders at a meeting this evening in Lafia expressed unalloyed support to the federal government on measures towards resolving NSAS protest and economic empowerment initiatives for youth, women and vulnerable in the society. Aliu Tijani Mohammed reports.
The meeting is part of engagement to contain the escalation of NSAS protests in parts of the country, while sustained dialogue with youth on the need to key into various empowerment programs initiated by government to address their grievances.
We are gathered here today to appraise the present security challenges with a view to finding solutions and sustainable peace, especially in our own state of Nasarawa.
To emphasize on the need to give peace a chance and for the youth to embrace dialogue as a means of redressing any passive grievances.
And further, we check the President's steadfastness in handling the issues, particularly his broadcast to the nation.
Stakeholders appeal to youth to end the protests as their 5-point demands are being addressed by government. They also commend security agencies in the state for being proactive in addressing security challenges in the state. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, normalcy is gradually returning to Akure and all the major towns in Ondo State after days of violent demonstration by hoodlums who hijacked the peaceful NSAS by youth. Abiola Rio reports that the 24-hour curfew imposed on the state by the state government is still in force.
Life is gradually returning to normal, Akure still bears the telltale signs of the mayhem unleashed on the state by hoodlums when they hijacked a peaceful protest by #NSAS protesters. Though a 24-hour curfew is still in force, the people are happy to resume their normal life as markets are busy with buying and selling. Commercial taxi and Okada operators have resumed business while shops and malls are open to business. Many commended the efforts which saved the situation and brought back peace to the land.
They want to bring Akure backward. When they start to burn good places, good institutions, good places in town.
Actually, we thank God for today. Today is calm, very, very calm. People are moving around peacefully and going back peacefully.
They say the destruction of the past 3 days was much and called on government to commence the process of healing.
Without mincing words, you are the leaders of tomorrow. Then don't use your own hands to destroy that tomorrow.
I will ask them to call for dialogue instead of making people using force on them. Call them dialogue. They will dialogue together and they will find a reasonable solution to the whole matter.
Major streets of Akure are still littered with debris and charred remains of tires burnt in the middle of the road by the hoodlums. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has met with the House of Representatives Committee on Police Affairs to assess and profile solutions on the ongoing reforms of the Nigerian police force and efforts at restoring normalcy to areas affected by violence arising from the NSAS protests in some parts of the country. A statement by the force reveals that the IGP has commenced comprehensive internal review and evaluation of circumstances that led to the SARS protest, violence fatalities and the damages to critical infrastructure that emanated from the violence. The committee expressed satisfaction at the efforts by the IGP in managing the SARS protest. The IGP reassured the committee as well as Nigerians that the force is more than ever before committed to police reforms, safe and secure environment for Nigerians, and protection of fundamental human rights. Property worth millions of naira has been burnt and looted in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State capital by protesters in the guise of SARS. Kelvin Samuel, who went round the metropolis, reports that the State Broadcasting Corporation was not spared, although security officers are now at strategic junctions to stop further destructions.
What started as a peaceful protest by the youth calling for an end to police brutality has turned into an avenue for criminals who seize the opportunity to destroy and loot both government and private businesses around Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Some of the victims who narrated the incident to NTA crew say the peaceful protest turned violent at about 5 p.m. when some youths broke into their business premises, destroying and cutting away goods and property.
They're brutalizing people, burning cars, burning vehicles, stealing and looting and all that, which was what happened here last night. And there's no basis for it, there's no explanation for it, and we believe that the law will take its course. And
so they broke in, looted all the televisions, broke all the B-Marines and everything glass, looted the chairs, the computers. It's very, very unfortunate that in the guise of protesting, people decided to loot.
The burnt and looted establishment includes Anchor Insurance, The Choice Mall, 2 banks, and Akwa Ibom State Broadcasting Corporation (AKBC) administration block. Meanwhile, due to the situation, the state government has extended the curfew, which was initially due to expire by noon of 23rd October till 7 a.m. of 24th October 2020. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Federal Road Safety Corps has decried insistent attacks on its personnel and operational tools due to NSAS protest ongoing in the country. In a statement, the Corps says its commands and operatives in some parts of the country have been attacked following the NSAS protest, leading to destruction of operational vehicles and tools and massive looting of valuables, including driver's license centers. The states affected including Abia, Anambra, Delta, Edo, Imo, Lagos, and Enugu. The FRSC Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi has directed all formations of the Corps to be on alert and scale down enforcement and commencement of daily security guide to avert further attacks. The Corps Marshal also advised members of the public to call the numbers displayed on the screen. In the meantime, Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has announced the imposition of a 24-hour curfew in the state effective 8 p.m. today. Governor Willie Obiano made the announcement during a statewide broadcast. The governor says the curfew has become necessary due to unpleasant incidents and rising tensions recorded in the state. He directs the closure of all schools and markets in the state, all large gatherings in any form also banned. Governor Obiano announced that the sum of 200 million naira has been approved to compensate families of those affected by SARS brutality in the state. He warns security agencies to resist all forms of provocation and the use of extreme force while enforcing compliance. Let's head to Lagos now, where Jennifer is standing by with some reports on the situation of the state. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jummai. Now, Lagos State government has relaxed the 24-hour curfew imposed on the state with effect from Saturday, 24th October, as people can now move freely between 6 in the morning and 8 in the night. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the pronouncement while addressing journalists after the assessment tour of areas attacked by vandals. Nosa Usula reports.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated that following a meeting with security agencies, the curfew would be eased from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
We need to continue to heal ourselves. We need to continue to talk to ourselves.
And we need to advise and implore some of our citizens that are still using social media to instigate or to ask people to stand up again or to incite citizens, young men, at the level of what we've seen. I think if anybody is still doing that, I think it's much more that we need to ask ourselves. Such people will probably require some other psychological test.
The governor, who also visited Ajeromi, Ifelodun, and some other parts of the state where there were pockets of violence and destruction of public property, assured residents that government would commence a total cleanup of Lagos.
It certainly will not be under my watch that we would lose the city that has the largest population in Africa, the city that has the largest economy in the whole of the Black Race. And I want to say that indeed, enough is enough.
He appealed to residents to continue to live in unity and peace with each other and avoid violence as well as the breakdown of law and order. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Now, the police in Lagos have begun recovering looted goods and property from several shoplifters at the Lekki Tollgate Plaza at Lekki. Dotun Oguyemi, who went round town to monitor the situation with a curfew still in place, reports that the security agencies have been deployed to strategic locations in the metropolis.
The tension around town is gradually being doused following the past few days of violence that has erupted in several parts of the state, as is evident while we were monitoring activities today across the metropolis. Some people are out on the road trying to, again, look for a bit of sense of life and get back to normal as they are about their normal duties. We saw some people who have already started resuming their businesses. Those are small businesses, and also people who sell food as security men are now mounting some checkpoints around the metropolis.
These are people's properties and businesses. As it or not be we even play or do this itself. As you now I come from yesterday or day before yesterday. Na Tyler do. Now I come from. And when they gave them to you, when your mother gave them to you, why did you not reject it? No, because na my mother now. I go to my mother. I don't feel as to do this for my mother.
Where do you see it? You see it for that junction. And you carry it. Why do you carry it?
Because I'm hungry, that's why, sir.
Because you are hungry.
I can't go for you so I can eat for the money. That's why I carry it, sir.
Okay, open it for by yourself. Let's see.
One of the suspects, who was intercepted by the police on a motorcycle, attempted to run away but was swiftly chased down by the police. He was, however, not caught as the police refrained from firing gunshots at him.
The Lagos state government has come to clean the litters around, but the destruction of the toll gates is massive.
While we were at the scene, the governor also arrived to assess the level of damage done at the toll gate. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
We still have more on the news, but first a break, and it will continue with Jummai in Abuja.
Recent genuine concerns and agitations by Nigerians about the excessive use of force and, in some cases, extrajudicial killings and wrongful conduct by men of the Nigerian police force. The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives, and livelihoods of our people. We will also ensure that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts are brought to justice. We also deeply regret the loss of life of the young man in Oyo State during the recent demonstrations. I have directed that the circumstances of his death should be thoroughly investigated. Meanwhile, it is important to recognize that the vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties. The few bad eggs should not be allowed to tarnish the image and reputation of the force.
What's wrong with you? You just crashed my car with your bungalow. I said, who scratched who? You scratched me. I did not scratch you.
What's wrong with this old man with it? Dash. Uncle, please, I beg, give me your phone.
And I'm calling the IGO police. Who is the IGO police? The director of the DSS is my cousin's husband. The head of service is my sister's fiance.
Uncles, please, why the scratch is super dangerous? Please, can we go? Can we go?
Now, that's it there.
Find your first with the best data plans in town. Dial *777# Glow Unlimited. There are no small beginnings, only stepping stones to bigger things. That's our philosophy at Premium Pension. And so no matter the size of your money, our team of expert fund managers invested wisely and actively to make sure your money is always working as hard as you do. After all, the things we're building today can help shape your future in the long run. And with the right partner by your side, the one thing you're sure to do is soar. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Mr. President said the youth of this country have spoken, and he has heard, and he has since gone to work for the youth of our country, not just as a president, but even as a father of the younger generation.
The real Nigerian youth is a patriot, not a tool of destabilization.
Mr. President made an appeal to the Nigerian youth that these protests, wherever held, should be done in a peaceful manner. The Nigerian youth should be on their guard to make sure that elements that will infiltrate and distract them from the very purpose of their protest should be prevented from doing so.
Listen to the voice of reason.
This is the NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. Civil society organizations in Kano have resolved to work with the state government towards sustaining the peaceful coexistence prevalent in the state. This was during an interactive session with Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje on how to make Kano safe for all. Abdullahi Mustafa has the report.
The meeting, which was at the instance of Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, was in view of security concerns in some major cities across Nigeria. It had in attendance representatives of various youth groups and civil society organizations who commended government's proactiveness and assured of adequate support and cooperation.
We need to all come together to support the government of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, to ensure the desired peace we all expected.
Your Excellency, we made a lot of advocacy to your office in respect of the Kano State Security Trust Fund. I think this is the right time that the trust fund should be established to curtail this kind of unforeseen issue.
States need to domesticate the national youth policy. So I want the government to try and regulate, to try to see the way it can formulate a kind of body that will regulate our activities on social media.
As a major commercial hub, Governor Ganduje noted Kano is witnessing continuous economic growth due to the ability of its residents to live in peace with one another.
Kano is great because of having different nationalities. That is why we are big. There's no doubt about this.
He stressed that this should be sustained and improved so that Kano could serve as a model to other states. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Nigerian Women of Faith Network, a coalition of Christian and Muslim women, have made an appeal for Nigerian youths to leave the streets, return home and give government time to back their words with action. This is in the interest of peace and progress, the women appeal. Momso Demindeti has details.
They are mothers, caregivers, cradle naturers, and peacemakers. They are Christians, they are Muslims, from the north, east, west, and south. They are united by one common goal: peace, unity, and progress of Nigeria.
Women of Nigeria, we have not been sleeping, we have not been eating. The nation is ours, the government is ours, the youths are ours.
They have an appeal to the youths.
Not to think ethnicity, not to think religion, but to think of Nigeria as a nation. Because that's the only way. If we're not patriotic towards Nigeria, then nobody can help us. We only have ourselves to help ourselves.
We appreciate you as genuine protesters. But please ponder and see what the mischief makers are doing with what your intentions are.
Something that we didn't think our youths could do was done. It was peaceful, well organized, but unfortunately, hoodlums decided to hijack their well-meant intention.
Also, a word to government at all levels.
Explore avenues through which it can bring the youth together for dialogue, for consultation, so that this enhances their participation in governance.
For politicians and privileged leaders who are taking advantage of the situation.
On these Nigerians, please retrieve your steps. Please stop inciting these youths. Stop turning them into tools. Stop for destruction. Stop using them to foment trouble. Stop using them to destroy our country.
While these women fast and pray for the peace of Nigeria, they are appealing that all hands be on deck to fix the nation. Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
Indeed, Momso. Now, a large number of women at the grassroots have benefited from the humanitarian gesture of the Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari in some local communities of Yobe State. State House correspondent Ali Kabir reports that this is part of the ongoing nationwide Future Assured program of supporting women and children get towards improving their health and their general well-being.
Women, especially widows and those at the internally displaced persons camps and other vulnerable groups in Guru local government area of Yobe State received palliatives, courtesy Future Assured program of the First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari. Prioritizing health as one of the cardinal objectives of the Aisha Buhari Foundation, the gesture is meant to support the women and children towards improving their health status and generally their living condition. The Special Assistant to the President on Organization of African First Ladies for Development, Mohammed Al-Bashir, stood in for the First Lady.
We're here on this very moving trip to give help and assistance to women, vulnerable people, internally displaced, widows, and those really in need, providing them with toiletries, sanitary kits, and things that will help them and make life a little easier for them, because she truly cares about all women in the country.
The delegation was also at Machina local government area for a similar exercise. Receiving the items for onward distribution to the beneficiaries, the Emir of Machina, Mai Machinama Bashir al-Bashir Bukar Machina Mai, enjoined them to use the materials judiciously. He expressed appreciation for the gesture, describing it as unprecedented.
On behalf of the Machina community, I wish to express our sincere appreciations to the First Lady for giving this noble assistance to my community. In fact, this is the first time we are receiving an assistance from the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
A similar exercise is expected to be extended to other parts of the country. From Machina Emirate Council in Yobe State, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
The federal government says disaster management in the country will henceforth focus on adequate sensitization on risk and disaster reduction, protectiveness of disaster managers, as well as better service delivery to the victims of disaster. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, Saidia Umar Farouk, said these are the celebration of the International Disaster Risk Reduction Day. Ilyasu Aliyakubu reports.
Disaster management across the globe has been such a Herculean task, always overwhelming interventions from all angles. The United Nations General Assembly viewed these as a threat to human existence and launched the Disaster Risk Reduction Policy in 1989 to promote a global culture of risk awareness and disaster reduction. These policy documents that is being celebrated in October every year is a total paradigm shift from reactive approach to the proactive interventions to save lives and reduce cost of interventions. The celebration in Nigeria was dominated by demonstrations of government proactiveness towards preventing risks before the main disaster occurs. The Humanitarian Affairs Minister said key actors in the management of disaster are fully mobilized to do the needful at all times.
The main focus is to actually create awareness and to also educate the general public on how we respond to this kind of disasters when they occur.
Immediately created an incident command post where reports were brought. Here we have reports from the various floors, from floor 1 to 11.
The 2020 International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction has as a theme disaster risk governance that will take charge of the management of disaster holistically to provide a better life for the citizenry. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
More reports when we return. Do stay.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating the disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms. On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings, with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state, and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youth and civil society, as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
Issa too like football on top Go TV. So they him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and the family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action will make sense. Get Go TV decoder, we come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV, live it, love it.
It's good to know you're still there. Time now to join Mohammed in Maiduguri for more reports. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, Jummai. Thanks as always for joining us in Maiduguri. As resettlement process of IDPs continues across Borno State, 5 batches of Baga returnees have been successfully resettled back to their rehabilitated community since the relocation exercise commenced 3 weeks ago. Yusuf has a situation report on Baga returnees' life following resettlement.
The historic relocation of Baga internally displaced persons from Monguno and Maiduguri was a dream come true for the people who lost everything from destruction and brief occupation of the commercial gateway to the Lake Chad by the Boko Haram insurgents. Falmata Tijani, now fries bean cake in Baga, was among the first batch that came from Monguno IDP's camp and says she fears nothing, having hopes to resume her food business soon. Baba Ganaba Abba, also from Monguno, is back home to his trade as a provision seller, while APC ward chairman is hopeful they will cast their ballot for the coming council elections in Baga. Baga Chairman Relocation and Resettlement Committee, Barrister Kakashe Hulawan, says all is well in Baga and expressed the hope that once the town is stable, fishing will resume as the fish dam area is being cleared.
All security agencies are up and doing to ensure the safety of lives and property within Baga and its environs.
For now, the Baga returnees are happy to be back home with families and friends after years of displacement and are looking forward to a full restoration of their livelihoods. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Community and religious leaders in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, have added their voices to the series of calls being made to aggrieved protesters connected with the ravaging NSAS crisis experienced in some parts of the country to sheath their swords and learn to channel their grievances to appropriate authorities. This alternative, the stakeholders believe, will bring an end to the wanton loss of lives and destruction of property witnessed in the last few days. Abubakar Mohamed Musa reports.
Though the protest held in Borno State was in support of the disbanded SARS, which was peaceful, having studied happenings across some states of the Federation, stakeholders in Borno have sent a strong message to the aggrieved youths to consider the decisive measures taken by the federal government towards dealing with security agents that were found wanting, starting with disbandment of SARS and state government's inauguration of special inquiries to investigate the abuses.
Calling for the youth that they have to listen and give peace chance so that government will have enough and harmful time to study their demands.
If we give it to God, I think God is able to give us the right direction.
We call on our youth to please, whatever they see on social media, they should always not work with it.
The youth who are now fighting on the streets, who are now making trouble, would have no nation to call their own. So I want them to exercise patience.
What I'm appealing is for them to sit down at home, listen to what government is doing, and then accept what government is doing.
While advising the youths to always obey constituted authorities, they, however, sympathized with Nigerians who lost their loved ones as a result of the mayhem. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Muhammad Musa, NTA News.
That is it from this end. It's back to Jummai in Abuja for the rest of Network News.
Thank you, Mohammed. The Directorate of Defense Media Operations, DMO, says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has obliterated some Boko Haram terrorist structures and neutralized several of their fighters and Goske on the fringes of the Sambisa forest in Borno State. DMO Coordinator Major General John Eneche says this was achieved through airstrikes executed on 20th October 2020 on the heels of credible intelligence reports indicating that the terrorists had resumed use of the settlement as a staging area to launch attacks. Now fighter platforms deployed by the Air Task Force destroyed designated portions of the terrorist hideout as well as the neutralization of several of their fighters. Still on security, 86 personnel of the Defense Intelligence Agency have concluded 4 weeks training in weapon handling at the Air Force Regiment Training Center, Kaduna. This, Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, says is critical to the success of military missions across the country. Abdullahi Muhammad reports.
The Nigerian Air Force combat jet hitting targets of adversaries with precision. A task that can only be successful with painstaking intelligence gathering. While sniffing into the territories of the enemies, the intelligence officers no doubt encounter life-threatening scenarios. The Nigerian Air Force Regiment Training Center has remained a preparing ground for them in self-defense through proper weapon handling. Who else holds his shoulder high as a result of this development than the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar? He sent in a message crediting President Muhammadu Buhari for the successes recorded by the Nigerian Air Force in all ramifications.
At this juncture, I would like to express my profound gratitude to Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, for his support and ensuring the Nigerian Air Force is better equipped to fulfill its statutory responsibilities.
This new set of 86 personnel of the Defense Intelligence Agency are surely going back to the theater of war with new ideas and techniques that will cripple the enemy. In Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, nonchalant attitude and lack of awareness have been said to be among some of the factors contributing to the alarming rate of oil pipeline vandalism and oil spillage across the country. This was during a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Television Authority headquarters in Abuja, where the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency solicited partnership with the NTA to escalate advocacy on these challenges. Ekenemi Williams has the details.
Director General, National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, Idris Musa, speaking on the alarming frequency of oil spillage in the country. He is seeking partnership with the NTA in order to bring the menace to a stop.
And these are the money spent on this ought ordinarily to go to some provision of some other amenities and facilities for the betterment of the Nigerian populace. So these are some of the challenges that we have. And we believe if we begin to sensitize very much more, it will enter the ears of the people more.
Director General NTA Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, on his part, restated NTA's commitments to partnerships geared towards national growth and development.
Information is critical, because there's a lot of environmental, nonchalance, environmental illiteracy in this country. I'm offering you free of charge, gratis, appearance on one of our personality programs, one-on-one. It's a 1-hour program. You'll be able to talk at at length, try and educate Nigerians on the agency, what it does, what to expect of Nigerians, and so on and so forth.
In another development, members of the African Union Economic, Social and Cultural Council, led by Tunji Ashaulu, Nigeria's representative, Social Affairs and Health at the AU, also solicited partnership with the NTA in promoting the vast areas of opportunities Nigerian investors can derive from AU's Strategic Development Framework, tagged Agenda 2063, the Africa We Want. Another partnership-seeking four-man team from the Africa Youth Growth Foundation also paid the NTA a courtesy visit, looking to sensitize youths on the dangers of illegal migration. All these visits were held in strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
To sports now, Para Soccer Federation of Nigeria intensifies call for inclusion in National Sports Festival. Badi Adele is our guide on sports update.
The 2020 World Polio Day National Para-Soccer Tournament climaxes this Saturday in Abuja. This year's tournament, which is the 8th edition, has witnessed the unprecedented participation of a private para-soccer club, a development organizers believe has increased the level of competitiveness as well as the popularity of the sport.
We are improving every day the skills of the athlete, the discipline of the athlete, and also the state is improving, and those are some of the things we are working on.
To football, newly appointed technical advisor of Kano Pillars, Lionel Soka, says he is determined to make history with the team. The French tactician, who was unveiled Thursday, has been saddled with leading the team to domestic and continental glory, a challenge he claims is prepared for.
My job is win, and it's good work for win every day, every game. In the league or in the cup, it's same for me.
Elsewhere, West Ham United will be looking to extend their impressive 3-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, where they welcome Manchester City, who are in search of their third win of the season, to the London Stadium, with the match live on NTA from 12 noon on Saturday. Other fixtures will see Manchester United entertain Chelsea in a cracker, with champions Liverpool playing host to Sheffield United. To mixed martial arts, Khabib Nurmagomedov will be aiming to take another step towards becoming the greatest fighter in UFC history when he faces lightweight rival Justin Gaethje in UFC 254 on Saturday in Abu Dhabi. Nurmagomedov has seen off all 28 opponents to hold the MMA record for the longest active undefeated streak. With sports updates, Badi Adeleye, NTA News.
And that's Network News for tonight. Thanks so much for your time. I am Jummai Yusuf.